Good morning, I'm Maddie Jansen, and this is the podcast of 17 News at Sunrise. It's everything you need to know to start your day in about 15 minutes.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning. Right now at 5, policing the police. The president and Congress are working to hold officers across the country accountable for their actions and misconduct. What that means for our local agencies coming up.
They're loud and could be keeping you up through the night. Illegal fireworks are exploding across the county. What firefighters are doing this year coming up.
Frustration and concern. There's an active threat inside local nursing facilities as coronavirus spreads. But did these homes do enough and prevent the virus from coming in? County officials don't think so, and they're putting 2 homes on blast. What they had to say today is Wednesday, June 17th, 2020.
Good morning. It is 5 a.m. on this Wednesday. We are halfway through the work week. That means that the weekend is just that much closer. And Kev, it is really going to warm up, especially starting this weekend. Remember when we had those 80s just a couple of days ago? It was very nice.
Yeah, the 80s were really nice, but the 80s are out of here, and we are going to continue to warm it up here as we go throughout the next few days. Let's talk about yesterday, show you our high temperature. It was warm, but not as warm as we're going to get. We were in the mid-80s. 86 degrees was the high, or normal this time of year. 91, the record of 113 was set back in 1961. That's a temperature we don't want to see anytime soon. And here's a look at our watches and warnings. They've all expired, so the winds are starting to die down. That's a good thing. As we go throughout today, just a light breeze around Kern County heading into this afternoon through our mountain communities. We're at 62 degrees right now in Bakersfield with that northwest wind at 3. Here's a look at the hour-by-hour forecast for you today. We will be in the 60s to start. By noon, 81. By 3 o'clock, 87 degrees. As we take a look at the Tehachapi area, 50 degrees. A west-northwest wind at 10. And as we take a look at the current winds, a little gusty over the Grapevine if you're headed that direction, so keep that in mind. And here's a look at the hour-by-hour forecast for today. Lots of sunshine, 50s to start. We'll be looking at the 70s throughout the afternoon. More weather to come, but first, back over to you.
All right, Kev, thanks so much. Just a day after President Trump signed an executive order aimed at addressing the national outcry over police brutality, Senate Republicans are set to unveil a police reform bill. Lawmakers from both parties agree now is the time to address the tension in the country over police misconduct. However, it seems they could be on a collision course.
All communities are laser focused on a response from Washington. We should provide them with a blueprint of what it looks like to restore confidence in the most vulnerable areas of this country.
Senator Tim Scott took over the lead on the Republicans' police reform bill. The 106-page proposal does not include a federal chokehold ban. State and local governments won't be eligible for grants if they don't enact a ban, except in instances where lives are at risk. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer blasted Republicans for taking a narrow approach.
Now is the moment for real, lasting, comprehensive change. We cannot merely make some changes around the margins.
You can watch clips from that interview with Kevin McCarthy, or we'll have those statements coming up a little bit later in the show.
As police reform is discussed nationwide, qualified immunity has been a heated point of debate. 17's Karen Waugh breaks down what exactly the term means and how it looks for local law enforcement.
Qualified immunity has been around for decades, yet it's receiving national attention right now. Some say it's a policy that protects police officers and public officials if they're ever sued for misconduct, making it difficult to hold them accountable for things like harassment and brutality.
There's 2 sides to every story. You have to help people in a position of some degree of power to exercise discretionary authority. And when exercising discretionary authority, you may not be able to always expect perfection.
So let's say an officer is involved in a shooting. If the officer believes in good faith his actions were legal, like if he argues self-defense, he gets qualified immunity.
Every case I've ever been involved in that involves an excessive use of force, there is always a claim of, well, he was resisting, or well, I was worried for my own safety, or Or the famous, and I swear to you, in every officer involved shooting case, you will find something in the case that says he was reaching for his waistband. Why do they say that? Because that's how you get to qualified immunity.
So the man shot could say the shooting was excessive force, but under qualified immunity, the officer can be held accountable for violating the man's rights only if there's legal precedence. So there would have to be a substantially similar previous case that was ruled to say rights were indeed violated.
Qualified immunity could be perceived as an unfair legal loophole that an officer of the law has utilized to get out of a case where they otherwise may have some liability.
The officer also would not be responsible for the cost of litigation or the settlement if there is one. So who pays? The city or county, and therefore taxpayers.
I mean, I can tell you based on the cases that I've had that involve the county of Kern, in particular sheriff's deputies, it was always the county that paid the tab. The offending officer or deputy in those cases they've never paid.
Democrats in Washington have been trying to get rid of qualified immunity, but Monday, the Supreme Court refused to hear these cases. If qualified immunity were to go away,
the notion that changing these rules that relate to qualified immunity would suddenly make officers personally responsible, it could, but the likelihood of him being able to personally satisfy a judgment for that family is probably very limited.
In Bakersfield, Karen Hua, 17 News.
Bakersfield Congressman Kevin McCarthy joined 17 News at 5 last night to talk about police reform. One topic that came up was the nationwide call for local governments to defund police departments. This, of course, comes following the death of George Floyd last month. McCarthy said that move is one of the biggest mistakes one could make when it comes to police reform.
What we need to do is take a three-pronged approach. We need better training. And that's the number one thing we need to do. There was a survey out from all the police chiefs. 80% of them said they needed more training. We need to make sure that we have greater transparency. And most importantly, for bad cops to be removed.
And you can watch clips from that interview with Kevin McCarthy on our website, kget.com. Well, while the 4th of July may be nearly 3 weeks away, many Kern County residents are already waking up to the frightening sounds of illegal fireworks. 17's Taylor Schaub joins us live this morning with an update on how local law enforcement and our fire departments are cracking down on this issue. Good morning, Taylor.
Well, good morning, Alex. And after seeing a surge in complaints all weekend, city and county fire are now encouraging citizens to report the use of illegal fireworks. As illegal fireworks soar through the sky well before the 4th of July, Kern County residents like Micah Martin are growing restless.
It's just continuing night after night after night.
He says the explosions have been nonstop all month long, keeping his family up almost every night.
You go boom, 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 dogs are barking, you start going to sleep, and then suddenly you're woken up at 11, then you're woken up at 1.
Georgia Millwood worries about the safety risk these fireworks pose.
They were right above my house, and that's what bothered me because we have a field in the backyard that's dry. I worry about fire. We've had one before.
Casey Snow with the Bakersfield Fire Department says their phone lines have been lighting up.
We have had a huge increase in fireworks responses. So you're looking at almost 12 times as many calls for fireworks.
Increasing from just 12 calls last year to 142 this year, just looking at last weekend alone.
We've gone ahead and implemented the enforcement teams earlier. You know, they're going to be out right now.
Kern County Fire has launched a new online tip line to combat the increase in illegal activity.
This website gives our community the opportunity to anonymously fill out this report, and it can be done 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Freeborn hopes this new approach gives citizens some comfort.
We want individuals to have a healthy and enjoyable quality of life here in Kern County. There's no reason to use these fireworks that are just harming your community. They're robbing your own neighbor from quality of life.
Those found using illegal fireworks face a fine of a minimum $1,000. In Southwest Bakersfield, Taylor Schaub, 17 News.
All right, Taylor, thanks so much. And that is the subject of this morning's 17 Interactive Feedback Poll. Today, we're asking you, should all fireworks be banned in Kern County? You can call or text us at 661-888-4617. Press 1 if you think all fireworks should be banned in Kern. 2 if not. You can also tweet, text, email, or Facebook your comments. Once again, our interactive feedback phone line is 888-4617. And coming up at about 5:30, we'll air some of your comments and have the first results of the poll coming up. And speaking of fireworks, you can enjoy a drive-by fireworks show on July 3rd. That's happening at Buttonwillow Park. There will not be any vendors at the event. Playground and restrooms will be closed. You must stay in your car to watch the event and park 6 feet away from others. The show starts at 9 p.m. Well, still to come this morning here on Sunrise, could your race determine how likely you are of contracting the coronavirus?
New statistics show people of color are being disproportionately affected. We'll explain why testing labs must collect your ethnicity data when getting tested. Public Health is expected to release updated numbers on the coronavirus outbreak in Kern County later this morning. Until then, here's how things stand. Now, Tuesday, Public Health announced 85 new cases and another death. There are now more than 1,000 active cases, with most people recovering at home in isolation. 75 people are hospitalized with COVID-19. Our death toll stands at 54. Well, skilled nursing facilities are tasked with taking care of some of our community's most vulnerable citizens, but they've come under fire in Kern County for the response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Tuesday, Public Health Director Matt Constantine blasted some of the state-regulated facilities here in Kern for not doing enough to combat the spread of coronavirus.
Basic disease control procedures are not being enforced. When we're there testing, we watched an employee go into their car with their dirty COVID gowns and masks and take off the PPE in their car. That is completely inappropriate.
Now, speaking before supervisors Tuesday morning, Constantine expressed several concerns, noting 2 facilities, Valley Convalescent Hospital and Kingston Healthcare Center, are facing an uncontrolled outbreak, yet still are admitting new patients. And a reminder, these facilities are solely regulated by the state, which means the state reports the number of cases and deaths associated with skilled nursing facilities. But today, Constantine said that state's numbers are not clear at all.
We have now 5 sources of information we get daily. Every one of those differs. They don't reconcile. I can't get an accurate count of the number of employees that are sick. I can't even get an accurate count of the number of residents that have passed away from COVID-19. If I don't have accurate data, I can't track our progress or how serious it is.
New statistics from the CDC show people of color are being disproportionately impacted by coronavirus. For example, Black and Latino cases make up more than half of those where race and ethnicity are known. And the disparities may be even greater. Demographic data collection across the country has been inconsistent. Under mounting pressure, the Trump administration recently released new guidelines for states on the gathering and reporting of data for cases and deaths. Sarah Dolph has that story.
Starting in August, along with a nasal swab, labs must also collect race and ethnicity data of those being tested for coronavirus. It's a step the CDC has been criticized for not taking sooner.
I personally want to apologize for the inadequacy of our response.
The COVID-19 Racial Data Tracker, a collaboration between the Anti-Racist Research and Policy Center and the COVID Tracking Project, finds Black Americans are dying at rates nearly twice their population share. In more than 40 states, Latino cases comprise more than their share of the population. Native Americans and Alaska Natives are also being disproportionately impacted. And we likely don't have the full picture yet, says Dr. Utibe Essien. His analysis, which has not yet been peer-reviewed, found many states have incomplete or no demographic data, making it difficult to distribute limited resources.
Really, this pandemic has just laid bare the social inequities in our system as a whole, but particularly in our health system as well.
In Buffalo, New York, Urban Family Practices' response in hard-hit minority communities has been driven by data, helping determine where to dispatch mobile testing vans, host community clinics, and better address the needs of the families they serve. For example, many live in multi-generational households.
So we knew about the generation, the essential workers, all that stuff. We knew in March, and so we activated because we felt that no one was going to do something.
The pandemic revealing dangerous health inequalities, say those on the front lines across the nation. Sarah Dolph, NBC News.
Well, President Trump's police reform order is getting mixed reviews this morning.
And as NBC's Tracy Potts reports, Congress is battling it out with separate police reform plans by Democrats and Republicans.
Alex, Nicole, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Democrats are really trying to push the envelope here, and so are families of victims. They met with President Trump privately. They were very complimentary of him and that meeting, but they still have concerns that his order just doesn't go far enough.
Thank you for joining us.
Families of African Americans killed by police say President Trump was compassionate in person, but his order fails to address systemic racism.
I don't think that's enough, but I do think that is a start. I'd like to have some laws in place where policemen are held accountable for their actions.
The order creates a national database of police misconduct, help for officers dealing with people who are homeless, addicted to drugs, or mentally ill. And it provides incentives that could lead to new restrictions on chokeholds, but doesn't ban them.
Americans want law and order. They demand law and order. They may not say it. They may not be talking about it, but that's what they want.
It fell sadly and seriously short.
More nibbling around the edges as opposed to acting boldly.
Democrats want stronger reforms, ending chokeholds, no-knock warrants, and qualified immunity for officers. Republicans insist not all cops are bad apples, and they need immunity to keep the public safe.
I think cops are innocent until proven guilty.
Dueling Democrat and Republican reform plans are up for debate.
What we have is 75% of what they say they want. We can start there.
The House is set to vote on Democrats' plan as early as next week. The Senate Republican leader has already rejected that plan. He's promised to say more about his own plans and his next steps later this morning. I'm Tracy Potts, 17 News.